Hello everyone. Hope all of you can hear me. There was some kind of a technical glitch, because of which you were all not able to hear me. I hope all of you are able to hear me now. And today we are here on Neelam Saxena page for the book review of a bunch of extremely empathic and compassionate short stories written by Neelam Saxena by the name The Chiseled World. I am Dr. Maitreyee Joshi, and I really love sharing whatever I read with everyone else. And so I am so thankful to Neelam for providing us with this platform where we can share all the things with all our literature enthusiasts, all the things that we read in the form of book reviews. So thanks a lot, Neelam. So, this chiseled world is a book which is a world in its own. It is a microcosm, and each short story uh, actually sheds light on its various dimensions. So, the chiseled world has number of characters in each short stories, protagonists and individuals who are thrown by the stroke of fate, by birth or otherwise, into a life situation which is extremely difficult to navigate. And as they navigate these life situations, at the end, they are changed. They may become out as winners, often in her short stories. Like there is a short story about a young girl by the name Adulating the Stones, where the girl loses her mother very early on in life. But her father doesn't seem to forget her mother, and he goes on constantly remembering and getting lost in the memories of the mother, even when she is physically not present with both of them. The girl has no one to relate to. Her father is always lost. So this young naive girl learns to talk to the idols either at home or in the temples. She cries her heart out in front of them, and she grows. But how will this girl, who has never been had any one to guide her, navigate the adult world, the problems in the adult life? This has to be seen in this story. It's a beautiful story. Another story is about a young girl who is sexually abused as a kid by her own stepfather, by the name How Blue Is My Amslet. She has an excellent IQ, she is intelligent, and she becomes an IS officer, but she struggles with her own sexual demons. She struggles with her own sexuality, and this needs to be seen and read and experienced. Her dilemma has to be experienced in this short story. Here, these characters come out as winners, but all the stories, the characters do not come as winners. Neelam's stories in this chiseled world are set in Indian traditional cultural background. Our society is a society in transition, and Neelam's stories mirror this society in transition very well. Actually, there are number of orthodox principles, customs, which become social evils. Some of the characters in Neelam stories hold on to these age-old customs, rituals, age-old ideas of the society, where they think that women being assertive is not the right way. Women's education is not a right way. So there is this story about a young girl called Aisha, whose father is very progressive. He wants Aisha to be educated, to be independent, but unfortunately, he dies very early in life, in her life, and she's left with a mother who is pretty orthodox, who has brought up her brother in the same manner, and this is a very entitled kind of a young man who doesn't respect women, their freedom, their education, and their independence. And he and his mother gang up against Aisha and get her married to a man 20 years older than her, stop her education. And so Aisha is in a deep rut, deep murk. And from there she fights, she struggles, she runs away from home. But finally she gets killed by her brother, who thinks that she has brought disgrace to the family. So this social evil is amply represented. It mirrors certain social evils in our society very well. And It makes you think, and that is very important. There are other characters like a young man who falls in love but is not a good boyfriend because of his drinking habit. Later, he becomes more responsible, develops his own business, and he now feels that he deserves his lady love once again, but she is in no mood to accept him. And this life situation changes him, makes him more patient and more tolerant of the lady's thought process, her situation in life. So these are the people who do not come out as winners, but they come out as changed people and they make the reader think. There are stories about young people because our Indian society is getting changed or transitioning because of the influence of technology. People or youngsters are falling in love on the internet, and in these stories represent how these youngsters learn important life lessons through their misadventures, and they understand that their parents, their friends who they know from years together mean something, mean well for them. And so young people must read these stories to get a hang of how the world works, and it is not so safe on the internet to fall in love with someone who you have never met, you have never seen, whose background you do not know. And so these stories are very enlightening, especially for the youngsters. I must congratulate Neelam on the diversity of the topics of each story. The stories, lines, and the plot lines are extremely engaging. They are very interesting. They are so called meaty, and they hold readers' attention to the end. They are today's stories. They are like happening everywhere around us, and so we can relate to them. Moreover, Neelam writes in English. Her language is something which anyone can understand, and so I am really thankful that she brings English language to every reader who may not be very well acquainted with the language. And so I'm immensely thankful because it all this multi-language system is needed. Writers who write in different languages are absolutely needed, and she does beautiful justice through the chiseled world to this sentiment. So, this is a book review, and if at all I have to say an aspect which is not a drawback, and yet I felt that the story I loved most, like most favorite story from the chiseled world, is The Grey Loss. There is a young woman or a middle-aged woman in her maybe 30s who has a kid and whose husband whose marriage is in shambles. It is a long distance marriage. Her husband is not cooperating and traveling all over India. So she falls in love with another man who respects her sentiments, who respects her emotions, and they are truly in love. But this lady comes to know about a very dark truth about this man, and this story represents a real life dilemma of that lady about what action she should do. What action will she take? You just have to read this story to know what action this lady will take. Because this man is from another religion, it is very difficult to get divorced and get married to this man. So, this is a very real world problem of that lady, and this is my most favorite story because it is very sensitively written. And I wish that Neelam, if she's listening, of course she's listening, to take my suggestion. And many stories in the chisel world are actually need a wider platform, a longer narrative, and especially the Grey Loss. I would love to see it being written in a novel form. The intricacies, the complexities will be better represented in a novel. And so, Neelam, please take my suggestion and convert at least a few of those stories into novels, and it will be wonderful to read them. So, I'm really thankful to have the Chiseled World in my hand because it makes my weekend engaged, thoughtful, and interesting. So, if you want to make your weekend engaging, interesting, and at the same time, if you want to feel thoughtful and see the world as it is mirrored in front of you, please get hold of the Chiseled World. So, here I end my review. I hope I covered all aspects of the book. And so I take your leave. Have a very, very happy weekend. Enjoy yourself. We will be coming out with more book reviews in the coming times. Thank you so much. Bye bye.